Have I told you lately that I love you? Have I said there's no one else above you? You fill my heart with gladness, take away all my sadness, and ease my troubles, that's what you do. Hey, Inspired Tribe, how's it going? Welcome to the Inspired Livestream. It is Monday, August 9th, 2021, WON. And Inspired Tribe, we're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, we're free. This has been the mantra for so many live streams now. I hope it's in your blood. I hope it's in your essence. We're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, we're free. We're saying this for a reason. We want to welcome all new tribesters, all regular tribesters, all original tribesters. We're all one big, beautiful, inspired tribe. Thanks for being here. As all of you know, there is no membership fee. You just show up. You're just part of the tribe. That's how this works. There's really absolutely no other thing to do. No form to sign, no fee to pay. So let me welcome you all. Then we're going to dive into today's topic and a little bit of an announcement before the topic, just a clarification. Hey, Elaine, how's it going? Frank, how's it going? Wonderful to see you. Nicola is here from Austria. Hey, wie geht's dir? Then we have Steve tuned in. Karen is tuning in from Alaska. Beautiful, beautiful. That's on our that's on our bucket list. And Karen, I might say so. Karen, I hope you don't mind, but Karen is going to be at the Yaddo retreat, and I think she's coming down in her camper, if I'm not mistaken, right? So Karen's going to travel the country, go through Canada, and come down to Florida. Exciting, exciting, exciting. Hey, Sustainable Tomorrow, good to see you. Elena, Sil Robbins, Maya from Canary Islands, beautiful. Welcome everyone, and I'm gonna of course go through this again. Sandra is here. Moon's beautiful soul. Web is here. I see a lot of countries, a lot of states, a lot of different places represented. Tesla, 1972. Linda, welcome. Everyone, welcome. It's so good that you're here. Let me clarify something before we dive into today's topic. Back to normal. That's today's topic, but. We've had huge reactions to a previous live stream and a video that was cut up from that previous live stream. And people, and it's always something that really triggers and captivates a lot of minds and hearts. And this is totally normal. So we've been talking about this many, many times. We never, ever endorse, encourage, inspire violence, ever. It's just not in our hearts to do that. It's just not something that we ever believe in. We never believe that violence is ever a means to create something new and more positive and beautiful. That's just who we are. However, that's not to be mistaken with one thing, and that is self-defense. And we firmly believe in every human's right to self-defense, which we believe is the end of violence. If you're being attacked, if a loved one's being attacked, we absolutely believe in self-defense. That's your human right to do. That's something that you have, that you were born with. Defend yourself, end the violence there. And in this regard, we absolutely, for the time being and until we as a human family decide that we need to remove certain things from our existence, we absolutely believe in the Second Amendment, and that every, at least in this country, we'd hope it would be in every country, has a right to keep and bear arms. That's something that I wanted to say and clarify. That's a given right. So,
but we will never promote violence.
But we will never ever promote violence, as we've said a million times before. But self-defense is the end of violence, and that, in our view, is absolutely, because this is something that people are thinking about in these times. We just wanted to say where we stand on this. So, wonderful souls, we are diving into a topic today that's something that many people think about, talk about. And we've heard this so often. We just want things to go back to normal. And there's a big push and pull and a tug of war for this, because there's this mantra that's been going on. There's going to be a new normal, right? And this new normal has been predefined by people that have a certain agenda. We don't align with that at all. But when people say, let's go back to normal, what does that really mean? We have to define and look at the normal that we're talking about here. Of course, in the current times, people would say, well, if we could just go back to where we were 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago, things would be a lot better. And while there's a validity to this argument, we might say it wouldn't work, and it's a really bad idea. And we have to explore what the old normal was. The old normal, if you look at it, if you go deep within, if you take a walk through nature, if you have a conversation with God or with essence or with the universe, however you want to call it, then you will see very clearly that the old normal that we lived in was insanity. In so many ways, it was complete insanity. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't sustain human life. It doesn't really promote human life or life on Earth, as a matter of fact. And it has put people in a hamster wheel and in a perpetual state of stress, anxiety, fear, doubt, worry. So there was nothing really good about the systemic old normal. But the answer is never to simply put a new system on top of the old system or just throw the old system out and replace it. Consciousness, awareness, and real human intention is what creates the change. But let's talk about this old system for a little bit, just because so many people still don't understand how it worked and why it is so problematic. And I want to pull out something that everyone can relate to, because it is literally the same all across the planet. Every single country has the same system when it comes to that. And that's our monetary system, which is so much of what makes all of this run and used to make it run. And while people are saying today, oh, we need to switch over to a different currency, some people say we need to have one currency. Some people say we need to have a digital currency. All of that does not change the fact of how the monetary system really runs. And I'm going to ask you a question that is seemingly unrelated, but it's not unrelated at all. Why do you think, for those of you who've been around for a few decades, why do you think that compared to the 80s or 70s or even the 90s, we have so many more stores that sell complete useless garbage, low quality $1 crap? Like, you go to a store and that it just has gimmicks and toys that are of no value, have no quality, and they sell for very little. Why do you think we have those stores? And why do you think we didn't have them 20, 30, 40 years ago as much? 50 years ago, we didn't have them at all. Why do you think that is? This is, to me, the clearest. If you understand this, why this is so, then you can tie it to the whole thing. And Patrick says profit over people. And that's just one side of this equation, because if you look outside of you, everything that is beyond necessity is, you could say, is luxury, is comfort, is for profit. And that is true, of course. But there's a reason why we see so many more products that are either low quality or very useless, and why we see products that used to last for 20, 30 years, now they last for 2, 3 years. There's a reason for that, and it's directly tied to the insanity of our old system and of our old normal. So the reason why this is and bear with me, there is a click that it clicks in the human mind, and once it understands this, it understands that we need a real change. So the current monetary system is a debt-based system. What that means, and we've talked about this before, every single dollar or every euro or every yen or every peso, every currency in existence is nothing but a debt note. It represents debt. That is the mechanism through which money comes into existence. So, for example, in this country, the American government does not have the right to produce its own currency. It actually borrows its currency from the Federal Reserve, which is an independent and privately owned entity. And so every dollar in existence is debt. There is no amount of money that is debt free. Every dollar, every other currency on this planet is debt, pure debt. And what happens when you take out a loan? Same with the government. And when you take out a loan, you do not just borrow the money, or you do not just have to pay back the money you borrowed. You also have to pay back the money, the interest that is owed on that initial amount. that interest doesn't stay the same and that amount doesn't stay the same, because interest, it's compound interest that grows every year, and the amount you owe grows every year. And if you take that to the global situation, every entity, every government, every business, everybody is in debt. That's the state that we're in. And we know there's no repaying the debt, because that would be no more money. If you repay all that, there's no more money in circulation. What we really do is we satisfy interest payments. That's what we do. We make interest payments. Governments do that. Corporations do that. That's all they're worried about, is to make the interest payment. But because the interest rises every year, the economy needs to grow every year as well. Because if the interest goes up and the economy doesn't grow, we can't satisfy our loans anymore. We can't make our payments anymore. We can't pay the interest anymore. And that's when systems begin to collapse. And that's when wealth, the real wealth, the houses, the cars, the land, transfers over to those who are in control of the debt system. So this whole system cannot ever live longer than 70 to 100 years. It's mathematically impossible, because it implodes. And so we are in this state where we now need to go out and produce total crap. That's why I said earlier, how is that connected to the monetary system? The reason why we see useless dollar stores and useless products today is because we need to create more and more revenue to satisfy the interest that we owe, collectively speaking. So now you have to make that economy grow into infinity, because the interest is constantly growing as well. This system is bound to crash. It was never meant to last. It was always meant to do what it does. It is it puts the wealth from the many to the few. That's what the system does. This is not a conspiracy. This is mathematics. This is, if you understand it mathematically, that's what it does. That's how it works. Now, banks today have the ability to create money out of thin air. For every dollar that is deposited into an account at any given bank, the bank can loan out $9. These $9 are created out of thin air. Every bank can do that. Every time you go out to a bank and take out a loan, money has been added to the system, to the whole amount of money in the system. It was just created out of thin air. No labor was needed for that. No material investment was needed for that. It was simply at the push of a button on a computer, new money was created. But what you're going to give into the system to repay it is your work, your time, your energy, everything, in order to pay back that which didn't exist in the first place. And so if you take this, because money connects us all, everyone uses money today on a planet. That's why we use this as an example. It's a completely insane system that most people don't understand. It's not being taught in school. There's no education for this, of course. That's on purpose, because if you had known this, early on, if people would know this, there would be a revolution out there today, not tomorrow, today. But so we have this, and because we are in this perpetual interest growing system and debt growing system, we need to come up with more insane ways to sell product, and with more useless products to sell to people, so we can make those payments. And this is why we have this absolute insanity we have today. A washer and a dryer used to last for 20, 30 years. Now they last for 3 years. Although we're technologically so much more advanced, it's by design. So you buy new washers and dryers, you buy new phones, you buy new computers, you buy new TVs, you buy new refrigerators. It's all about that. But it is not just the sheer greed for profit. It is systematic. And that's what we need to understand. It is a systematic thing. However, our moving forward needs to have a clear vision and a clear definition of what we want to design as well. Just understanding that the old normal was insane doesn't help us necessarily to see what the future could, should, or would be, we would be excited about of how it could look like. And so our answer, and that's just our answer, something that we've realized, is not to rush into putting a whole new system on this, but it is actually individual awareness and consciousness that leads to collective awareness and consciousness that leads to wonderful new solutions. A lot of these solutions are already here, but if people don't understand them, they can't endorse them, they can't support them. If people don't understand what the problem in this old system is, they don't see the necessity to create something new. They simply cannot see it. And so the education is one part of this, which we believe is very important, understanding these things, that it is not the will or the nature necessarily of us humans that we pollute and destroy and abuse each other and the planet for profit. A lot of it is built into the system that we're living in. And so returning to the old normal is only as much desirable as, of course, the immediate lifting of all restrictions and allowing people to live and taking back that power to live the way you see fit. But then the question is, what do we do then? Because we do have those problems, and I'm not jumping on the climate change train, and I'm not going along with these organizations that have a different agenda. What I'm saying is we have a sick sick planet. We have Mother Nature is truly crying, and it's up to us to create new ways. But we cannot do it from an isolated place, from distance, and from just seeing things in theory. We have to reconnect ourselves. And the most and absolutely most beautiful way is to define for yourself what is really important to you. And this is something that we've been asking ourselves for years and decades now, but it wasn't until, and again, we're going to talk about these beautiful books today. It wasn't until we read the Anastasia books that we actually realized that there's a vision that feels so beautiful and natural to us that we can support. And the beautiful thing about this vision is you don't have to join an organization. You don't have to subscribe to a new outside leader. You don't have to vote someone else into a position of power. It's about taking your power back. And think about the things that we have given up to seemingly have the comforts that we have today. I mean, we are so proud. We're running around with our wallets with all the cards in there. And today, all of it's on our phones, access to credit, and so proud that we can do these things. But can you feed yourself? Do you have clean water? Do you have access to clean water? Do you have a piece of land that you can live on, that you can grow that you can grow food on, and have a family and see your children grow up? And do you have a piece of land that? Think about this. We've talked about this so many times. We're the only species on this planet that doesn't have a designated place to live unless we pay for it. That's the greatest insanity of them all. That we come to this place, we live on this beautiful earth, but there's no designated place that we can use to live on, grow our food on, thrive on, grow our families on, do all those things. We have to pay for that. We have to go and go into the system and make money and take out loans and play the game. When every other species has a nest, has a tree, has the earth, has a hole, has a cave, has the water, the oceans, the lakes, the rivers. It's all pre-designated. It was pre-designated for us too, but we allowed it to be taken away from us. And so the true new normal, and it's not a normal anymore. It's a thriving, is when we reclaim that, and when we understand that the biggest work that we can do is to reclaim what is naturally ours, not through wars and fights and all that thing, but to actually work together with our local governments, to work together with our county or state or federal governments, to make them see, or go into these positions ourselves maybe and get elected for it, or to make, and private investors, of course, to make everyone see that this is the greatest insanity of them all. But why is this so important? Because you say, well, all kinds of people have a lot of land, and there's no consciousness and there's no awareness. They keep exploiting nature. That is true, because we have lost our natural ability to understand and to be truly free. And I've seen this many times where people earn a lot of money, are very successful, become millionaires, and then they become slaves to their own success. They become slaves to their own to what they build. Then they they build humongous mansions and have huge pieces of land, and it requires more work and effort from them to just keep it all going, and they have no freedom. And that's what I'm trying to get at here. When their needs are met, when you are in sync, when you have a piece of nature that you are in sync with, that your needs are met, that you have a house where you can live in, and you don't have to constantly worry about these necessities, something begins to happen. You begin to think. You begin to feel more. We've seen this in a short period of time last year when everyone was in lockdown for 2-3 weeks. We had such a huge jump in consciousness when the life situation of these people hadn't even changed yet. They just had time to think. Most of the people on this planet today don't have time to think. They don't have time to actually connect, to meditate, to go into real prayer, to reflect on their lives and what they really desire. But when you are independent, truly independent, when you are self-reliable, when you take care of yourself and your family and you have the ability to do that, things begin to change. Your consciousness begins to shift. And many, many times over the years, Kristin and I have taken ourselves out of any kind of daily life for a while and simply went into states of just being, thinking, reflecting, envisioning. And you can't do that when you're in a constant 9-to-5 situation where you constantly have to do a job or work for someone else, or work for the mortgage payment, or work. It wasn't meant to be that way. This was all part of this old normal that led us to this point. And we can now become aggressive and become very violent about this and say, well, this was all crap and they all led us into this. Or we can begin to see the lessons, and we can begin to envision something that is completely different and way better. And just in case you were wondering, even at the current numbers of population on the planet, given the land masses and given the land that is inhabitable and usable, it would still be possible that every family on this planet would at least have an acre to live on. That is still possible by today's standards, which is almost impossible to imagine, but it is true. And imagine if you were born, or if you were become a father or become a mother, and you already know that this child of yours is never going to have to worry about where it lives. It's never going to have to worry about where the food is going to come from, because it is something that is, again, natural to human beings, that they live with nature, that they give and receive from nature. Could you imagine what kind of shift that would create? And I can tell you that this is not a new idea, but it's something that has never been allowed into mainstream discussion. Now, in Russia, where these books that we talk about so often, the Anastasia books by Vladimir Megre, where these books come from, these books that were written in the mid-90s to the early 2000s, and he's still continuing, have created such a movement, such a powerful shift, that it is actually pierced, and this thought, this idea, has gone all the way to the top of the government. And today, in many regions of Russia, if you, as a citizen of Russia, want to get your 3 acres of land, not as a lease, not to rent, not as a grant from the government, you get them. They're yours to own. And this isn't socialism, people. This is what socialism would be if the government says, okay, you can live there as long as you do what I'm telling you. No, this is yours to own. It's yours to live on, yours to grow food on, yours to thrive on. And why wouldn't it be if you were born in that country? Why wouldn't it be if you are a citizen of that country? Why wouldn't you have that right? These are ideas that are coming into the mainstream now in many, many countries. And This means independence. This means true freedom, true sovereignty. And this is a normal that I can subscribe to. It doesn't mean that everyone has to live that way. It just means that everyone has to have the possibility to do so. Who could be in charge of that? Who could say that, land is not available for the citizens of a country? That it's actually completely illogical. But it's because we've never thought about it, because we just accept that it's normal that you go out and you have to work for it, and you have to take out a mortgage, and you have to pay your interest, and you have to stay in the system to do that. We've never explored that thought. And so it comes back, and this is something that so many people don't want to hear, but others, when they feel it, it makes them feel so empowered. It comes back to personal responsibility for our lives again. How can we do that? And this isn't just a philosophical, spiritual principle. It isn't just something that you talk about and it sounds good. It's something that has to be actually implemented. And this movement in Russia, and I believe now in the Ukraine, and I believe now in some other countries, is actually gaining more and more momentum. And this is something that we need to all explore. And I can only encourage you to begin by reading the books. The link is in the description, the Ringing Cedar books by Vladimir Megre. And again, we're not affiliated with the author or the publishing company, so we don't make anything of that. It's about the wisdom and the knowledge that comes with it. And we believe that that's the only way we're ever going to move into and that is truly back to how the original idea was of life on Earth, which is, I believe, paradise on Earth. I truly believe we were meant to live in a paradise, and we were meant to co-create in this paradise. And it can only happen when we live on through the land again, if we are connected. And I want to share a little story with you. I never lived where I was born. I'd never had that connection. I was born in Slovenia, which many of you probably don't even know where that is. It's a very small country, 2 million people, right in the center of Europe, in the Mediterranean, actually, on the edge. And so I was born there. But after, a few weeks, my family moved to Austria, where I grew up. I never lived where I was born. I had no I later, as a professional athlete, I skied for Slovenia, but I never had a true connection to it in my heart. It's a beautiful country. I love the mountains. I love the rivers, the lakes, the sea. It's absolutely gorgeous. I just never had a true home connection to it. I didn't have that in Austria either. Oh, it's a beautiful country. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I never had that. And I traveled the world. I went to Asia. I've seen parts of South America. I've seen beautiful islands. I've seen beautiful things. And it wasn't until I stepped on to Turtle Island, North America. It wasn't until I came to first time as a kid, but then later in my teen years, that I truly felt a connection that felt like home. I felt like for the first time I had arrived where I was meant to be, where my home is. And so it doesn't mean that home has to be where you were born. It doesn't mean that you have to remain there for all of your life, but find that place of home. Find what that is, and understand it is more than a flag. It is more than a country. It's the land. It's the connection. We need to be as connected to this mother as we are to the father or the creator. We use language and it sounds like we're using genders, but really it's not about that. But we need to be connected to these energies both ways. And that can only happen when you have the ability to do that. And so many people today, they're living in environments that were never meant to be for human beings. It was never meant to be a piece of metal, concrete, no nature, no birds, no river, no water. I mean, we need to rethink that. And we need to do it individually first. We need to become aware of what it is that we truly want. We've been speaking about this a lot lately because it's such a pivotal moment for us. It's not just about getting rid of this, of this oppressor, if you will, just getting rid of this dark energy that's still trying to control us. It's beyond that. What do we actually? How do we desire to live? What would a normal live like? What are children going to grow up like in the coming decades? What are they going to learn? What are they going to believe? Is it going to be another story? Is it going to be another system that we make up? Another thing that we try? Or is it going to be something real, something natural, something authentic? Is it going to be something that's worthwhile? And this is something that we see. It's the sickness of our time and our society that we believe that what we do is evolving constantly. We're not evolving. We're taking this path right now that's technocracy, where technology is in the center of everything and is supposed to take over. That's not evolution. That is devolution, if anything. It's going backwards. And we believe that no ways of life could ever be lasting. Everything in our ways of living changes. And while we agree that life changes, nature changes, but if we reconnect with the true ways of living, that's something that lasts. See, for generations, many generations in a few cultures on this planet, these ways of living have been passed on in purity to the next and the next and the next generation. And they thrived, they lived beautifully. It was always a disturbance factor that made people believe it wasn't good enough, or there needs to be something added to it. Now we're on this perpetual journey where what I learned in school is obsolete because what my kids have learned in school is now the new truth. And if this continues, what their kids are going to learn in school is going to be a completely different truth again. And it's always sold as this idea that we're evolving. But if we truly were evolving, if we truly were improving as a society, we would be healthier, we would be stronger, our abilities would be more developed. But that's not really what is going on. But, and this is the point that we're always getting to, it's the consciousness and the human spirit that breaks free from that. It's breaking free right now, big time. It's breaking free big time, and this scale is tipping, and it's tipping wonderfully, but it is something that we cannot be passive about. Said this many times over. It's not a time to be passive anymore. It's not a time to see how this plays out anymore. It's not a time to watch what happens. It's a time of human action. It's a time of implementing vision. It's a time of getting and putting it into practice, beginning somewhere. I'm asking for those of you, if you have a piece of land, a backyard, a front yard, anything, a space, begin and grow a few, plant a few flowers, plant a few vegetables, plant a tree. Begin somewhere. Go out, go into the woods, reconnect. You got to begin, and then bring what you are feeling and hearing, because I can't tell you what you will hear. I can't tell you what you will hear. I can only tell you what I hear, and I can only point to that, but it will happen. Bring that to the conversation. It's empowerment, and empowerment means I'm in my strength, I'm in my power. When you're in your strength and when you're in your power, there's nothing that can shake you, nothing that can throw you off. But this doesn't happen by just thinking about things. It doesn't happen when you stay the way you are, stay in the environment that you are, do what you've been always doing. It doesn't work that way. So in order for us to create something new, a new normal, if you will, I don't like that term, but in order for us to do it, was it Kristin?
Yes.
Thank you so much for your contribution. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. But in order for us to do it, we have to do it. And as you can see, it's a time of action. It's a time of becoming practical about it. There are wonderful people already out there who have been doing for a while, and they're waiting with open arms. And it doesn't always have to be an organization. It can just be individuals creating something together. Kristin and I, we used to, back in Austria, we actually managed with our work and with our we were insistent in that. We actually managed to rededicate some of the public natural grounds that were in the city, like parts of the park, parts of certain natural areas were rededicated to edible plants, not just a beautiful tree that looks nice, but something that people could actually, where they could go and pick an apple or have a garden bed there and grow that together. And we need to understand this is the basis of our lives. It's not food is just one thing, water is just one thing. No, that's the basis of our lives. It's what sustains us. And when we come into this understanding again, we also see that these are our healers also. There is no sickness in our bodies that cannot be healed with the proper foods, herbs, and plants. Absolutely not. If it goes hand in hand with the soul healing, of course. But everything is curable. We need to understand that too. Everything is curable. We've been led astray, and it's just our time to realize that again, to reconnect with that knowledge and wisdom again. And so, as an action point, and that's what we're always being asked: what should I do? You talk about change, you talk about how to do, or talk about new things, but what can I do? First thing, we can just tell you what we did. For us, it really began to become something that is very tangible, practical, and concrete is when, after we read those books, 10 books, and it sounds like, well, just another guru. It's completely different. I mean, they're called books, but there's something different. It's a spiritual experience. And then you will get ideas, visions of your own, inspirations on what to do and how to do it. And it's the only plan. And Kristin and I had the great pleasure to be invited to many seminars, many groups that wanted us to be a part of them, that were working on new solutions. It's happening every day. We get emails every day to be invited. People want to build new ways, new technology, new cities, new everything. And we love the energy. We love that so many people are inspired to do that. But there is no vision as fully empowered and holistic and complete as the one we've received from Anastasia through these books. It's not about a cult. It's not about the person. It's not about who created that vision. It's about the vision itself. Nothing gave us the feeling that we could truly shift our experience on Earth as individuals and as a collective like the vision in these books. There's just no words for that. How it feels and what it does. And it's been something that it got a hold of us more than 10 years ago now, and it never let go. It only becomes stronger. It only becomes greater. It only becomes bigger. As a matter of fact, it might be that the whole purpose why we created this channel, why we created the Inspired thing is really to give more attention to this beautiful vision. There's a good potential that was our subconscious inspiration for this. Because this is actually something that everyone could do. We all could do. How we all could thrive. And you might not know this, but that's what we live for. That's what we came here for. We live and breathe this vision that we can truly turn things around and create something new on this planet and return to the original design of what it was meant to be. Not dogmatic, not by pushing something onto people, not by, becoming another system, but rather by true individual agency, you discovering that for yourself. People just pointing other people, helping them to their own self-discovery, to this path. It's not something you can put in a pamphlet. It's not something that really reads well as a party line for any political party. But there are practical steps, and that's what we talked about here. For those who've already read the books, you know that there are practical steps. You know that there are practical things we can do, and we are doing. And so connect with each other, talk about this, discuss this. Please read the books, and then meet up, whether that's Zoom or in person, if possible in person. Discuss it, feel the energy. And it's not a religion, it's not a group, it's not a cult, none of that. It's just about a vision that can all unite us. And there's a few things on this planet going on right now that have the potential to unite us all. And that's what ultimately this is all about, to rediscover that we are one family. that we have a different purpose, but we have a common destiny. That's the rediscovery of all of this. And we'll show up. We'll just keep showing up. Let's keep doing what we do. Thank you for all the wonderful words, emails, ideas, for everything you're bringing to this. Just for being a part of this. Your energy that you put into it, your love, it means so much to us. And we'll just keep showing up. We'll be here again tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central. And we'll be here again then on Thursday. And we'll continue to do this. And we'll continue to grow this together. Because it has purpose, because it has meaning, because we're actually seeing something. And if you ask me what that is, I see humanity that's actually, friends with each other, family. I see clean water. I see healthy animals. I see healthy trees and woods, and I see beautiful fields of wildflowers. I just see a future that holds pure life, something real, something authentic for all of us. And last but not least, someone asked this, what if I don't want that future? Well, that's totally fine. That's freedom. That's what we're talking about here. That's freedom. Freedom is sovereignty, is to be in charge of your present and of your future and create that which you desire to create. As long as it doesn't harm others or their property, their belongings, you're golden. That's freedom. Remember that. We all need to remember that. Tribe, thank you for joining us. Please hit the like button. Please check out the link. We're linking to our upcoming seminar, the retreat in Florida. But actually, this link tree links to all of our links on the internet. We have a Rumble channel that we would love for you to subscribe to, another video platform that is very much about pure expression and freedom. We're on Telegram. We have different links up there, and we have. There's a link already up there. We're going to announce this soon, a new partnership that we're excited about.
Gary said something about, Jean, tell us about the group talk again, the tribe. I don't know what it means.
Oh, okay. So Gary, maybe he's talking about the Telegram. There's an Inspired Tribe Telegram chat group that we created. It's not our main channel on Telegram. It's a specific chat group for our Inspired Tribe. And the link is in the description up there. So when you join that group, it's literally about the Inspired Tribe from all over the world talking to each other, sharing ideas, sharing information, sharing wisdom, sharing inspiration. That's what this is about. And we picked Telegram because it's free, it's uncensored, and because we feel it's a place of expression. That's why we picked it. So yeah, that's in the link too. And other than that, we'll be here again tomorrow, 2 p.m. Central. We love connecting with you, and we want to welcome everyone. We want to say one thing very clearly.
And Steve is saying, tell us about the buffalo.
Oh yeah, that's coming up too. We can't do it all in one live stream. We're going to be back for more. But one thing I want to say, last thing, everyone, every human being that shares the vision of kindness, of inspiration, of wanting to expand or become better or just learn is welcome in the tribe. No matter where you come from, no matter what your name is, no matter what you look like, the tribe stands for the human tribe all across the planet. And it's a hard thing. We don't ever discriminate against anyone based on their religion, based on what they look like, where they come from. These boxes are idiotic to begin with. And it's nothing that will ever have any place in the tribe. So just so you know, we love each and every one of you, and we welcome each and every one of you. Thank you for being here with us today. It was my great honor and pleasure. And of course, Kristin, I believe I didn't really introduce ourselves, did I? Maybe now that we go out, I'm Jean Nolan. It's my wonderful wife, Kristin Nolan, behind the camera, the wise voice. She whispers, reminds me of things. And it was a pleasure. We'll see you again tomorrow, 2 p.m. Central. Be abundantly blessed. We love you all.